Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say. Mother.
Hello all, and we are back early, but that's because there was an AEW pay-per-view. But I'm sure everyone that watched this probably saw, but we'll give our thoughts about that, and we'll also talk about the Cena heel turn aftermath, which is, I think, something to talk about because it's been whatever it has been. And me and Marquine, if we have time, we will talk about Daredevil. So, anyways, shall we start?
Brandon, how much of the pre-show did you see?
Oh yeah, Brandon was there.
Are we gonna start with me? I saw all but one of. I didn't see the opening match. It's because we were a little bit late getting there, but I did see everything, including the AJ match that we'll have to talk about as well.
How was your overall experience?
I was gonna say I had a great time. I enjoyed the show a lot. I know we have plenty of things to say, especially when it came to the climax or the ending of the pay-per-view. But that aside, I had a really good time when I line it up towards how I felt going after Revolution last year. Maybe the show didn't have the moment that show had, but I thought that the wrestling was just as good, maybe even slightly better on this year. And I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, definitely wasn't the greatest ending on the main event match, but as far as like the live experience, I don't think that AEW can really put on a bad pay-per-view at this point. And if they do, then something really happened. But I enjoyed my time. Definitely, I think Revolution, like I said previously, is like one of their best pay-per-view franchises they do. So if it's somewhere that could potentially go next year, I would probably do that. And a lot of it has to do with the time that they have to be able to do the build between World's End and this pay-per-view here. So again, I had a really good time. Really good time.
I was just about to ask if we should talk about that. Do you think the reason why this pay-per-view always seems to be so much even better than your standard great AEW pay-per-view is because there is that time lapse, that there is that gap, kind of like what WWE does with WrestleMania. That's why they do it, is so that there's enough time to really build up to it.
That's the nature of the beast, man. As soon as they started going to these monthly pay-per-views, I kind of expected that. Remember how it was so refreshing when they didn't have those monthly pay-per-views? So when those pay-per-views hit, man, they really, really hit. And Revolution has that little time where we can set all our things in motion to go to this big show. So yeah, I figured that would happen when they went to monthly pay-per-views. Not saying they still aren't great, but Revolution is proof in the pudding that if you give things more time to breathe, then we get shit like we saw fucking Sunday.
Well, it doesn't help that the pay-per-view buys dipped this much because they went there's 8 pay-per-views now instead. That didn't help with the spacing of having less pay-per-views. So,
did any of you guys order on Prime for the pay-per-view?
I did.
How was the experience?
It was. I didn't have a single issue the entire time. But I was also the bedroom TV has a Fire Stick on it, so I don't know if that makes any difference or not. But I usually don't have a problem with that. I've got a pretty good Wi-Fi modem too for the house, so that probably might help a little bit. But I know Phil also ordered it. He said there was no issue whatsoever. But people that did order it through Thriller,
you listen.
Had issue. That's funny. They don't normally have issues. They're normally pretty solid.
Yeah,
go ahead, kid. What happened to you?
Well, in the first 2 matches, I don't know what happened, but the stream would get buggy, which happens from time to time. But then there's something that happened on this show that has never happened to me before, where it would cut back and do a playback to stuff on the 0 hour. In the middle of the MJF match, it would just cut back an hour in the feed, and I'd see hologram in the ring. It would be really weird, and I'd have to close the app, reset it, and that kept happening through the Mercedes match. And it wasn't until the Swerve match started where it finally stopped. but I had to like go back and rewatch those matches afterwards because it was a disaster live.
Oh man, that's crazy. See, it wasn't that bad for me. What? Because I got Triller also because the 2-pack, and I always get Triller and
It's $30 cheaper.
Bullshit. Yeah, exactly. So what happened with me is that it was fine until the opening match, and then I kept getting no signal from venue, no signal from venue. The app kept closing, and it pretty much stayed that way until Mercedes music stopped and the bell rung for the second match.
Damn.
Yeah, I bet it kept going for you, kid, but yeah, it stopped for me like as soon as that match started, thankfully.
I refused to let that happen the entire time. So once it started doing that crap for me, I unplugged my Fire Stick and plugged it back in, and that seemed to alleviate it.
So you did a quick reset.
Yep. I didn't even fuck with the app reset, and I was like, nope, we're doing the whole thing.
But yeah, I ordered on Prime. It was.
I watched the replay on there. It was great. Like I said, I've ordered pay-per-view from there before and never had an issue. So I don't know. I'm not, obviously people can get it a little bit cheaper, especially if you have VPN through Triller. But if you want to make sure you have good quality, I mean, you have this other avenue to be able to order the show. And saw a lot of people still confused that it's not on Max. Like they said it's coming later this year. Like I don't know why people aren't patient. Hopefully there aren't any issues once they go over to Max, but at least for right now, at least we have that option to do it through Prime.
I would imagine they're probably testing it, and it's probably still not where they want it to be yet. I would imagine and they're probably. I bet the other thing is there's probably a lot of things they're just trying to get right before they do it, because they know people are gonna get online and bitch like crazy. So
the old pay-per-views have been good. I know that's not live; it's different. I get it, but those come off great.
Right.
So shall we?
What y'all think of the show?
It was awesome.
From the crib.
A lot.
I thought up until the main event, I thought it was like it didn't feel like one of the best pay-per-views of all time. But when you go back and you looked at like everything that happened, it felt pretty close to that. They're really I would even say with the main event, you might have had 2 bad matches on the show, but maybe. And I think that even with that, I think we'll get into that when we talk about the main event. But I think to me, it was an excellent show, and it's still that it feels weird because when you go back and you look at you had all of these great matches, and it didn't feel like a huge spectacular show. But I think that has a lot to do with the bar with AEW is set so high that I think even if that main event had delivered to an extent, I think people still wouldn't have been crazy talking about it one of the best pay-per-views of all time, which is weird to me. So
I'm a little biased because we were all Brandon and Chase were at Revolution last year. I don't think it was as good as last year, but I thought it was really damn great. I think that everything that people seem to really love, minus one match, I think I liked a little less. And everything that people, well, I can't say that because the main event, but I think everything that people maybe weren't as high on, minus that main event, I was a little higher on. So, well, no, never mind. The 2 bad matches, not counting those. Oh man.
Felt like. Go ahead.
Let's just say the pay-per-view, more so this show than the last few weeks of TV, the company feels like they have a lot of acts that matter. Like you have Max and Hangman felt like a big deal. Swerve and Ricochet felt like a big deal. Omega's return felt like a big deal. The women's match, the cage match, even the main, there's a lot of you feel like when you're watching the show, you're watching main eventers up and down the card. You don't just feel like the only main eventers are in the last 2 matches. And that's not always conveyed on AEW pay-per-view, even when those guys are quote unquote top acts. The matches never come in with that kind of top act heat. And it felt like all those matches did, which is probably what I think Josh kind of alluded to it earlier. The depth of this show, it has a lot of great matches, a lot of matches that were over. I don't think it quite had the high point that some of the past Revolutions did. I don't think anything on here was as good as Danielson MJF. I don't think anything on here was as good as the Takeshita Osprey match last year. Some people will love that women's match. Some people will say that women's match was match of the year. Not me, but some people will. So maybe if you did think it was that 5-star classic, maybe you think even higher of the show than what we're saying right now.
It feels like a one of those 96, 97 WCW pay-per-views on steroids where
yeah,
WCW
that's a good
really solid throughout the the opening card, the mid card, and as soon as it gets to that main event, you get Hogan versus Piper.
Piper and the
We're out of time.
Right. It was just like that's kind of like the ending. Like, damn, like we ended it on that. But the rest of the card was pretty good. That's kind of what the show felt like.
Your thoughts, Chase?
Didn't like it as much as last year's, but I did think it was really close. I do think Tony Storm versus Myron was 5 stars. So I'm one of those.
Same. Say I am also one of those people. We will talk about it.
You'll get there.
I loved that goddamn match. I did not expect to love that goddamn match. It surprised the hell out of me that they decided to go to Taipei death match instead of just a Cactus Jack versus Sting, but oh well. Yeah, I liked it a lot. So let's run it down. We're gonna start with the pre-show or start with the main show. We're gonna say
That's not pre-show.
That's on the pre-show, man.
Yeah, because we came on here, we bitched about the pre-show, we bitched about the pre-shows, and we finally got a pre-show that felt more like the old pre-shows where the matches, even if they didn't matter as much, they were still all good. So I would say for the most part.
We don't have to go match by match at the pre-show, right? Like,
No. I mean, there's only 3 matches.
What I want to talk about before we get to Boom Boom AJ, that Chris Jericho angle to me was one of the highlights of the show. I love shit like that. I love shit. And I know people say what they will about Chris Jericho and whatever, but that's the type of shit that only this company does, man. Like, just simple. Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of your brother. Your parents are gonna come in the ring. I'm gonna kick you in the face. Simple yet effective, man. I loved all that. And Chris Jericho came off really like dangerous, man. And honestly, like people get upset at me when I say this, especially in real time. I felt like the Painmaker run when he was like showing up in New Japan randomly and things like that was the most interesting Chris Jericho had been his entire career because he felt dangerous. And one thing that dude can do is feel dangerous. I was like, if he can do this all the time, he can be on as much TV as he wants to. I loved all that. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it did what it needed to do, which was the important thing. So also, it was a good match on top of it, so that helped.
They didn't have a match. There was no match.
But I'm saying what led to it. Like, they didn't have a match, but
oh, you're talking about the Bandito match before, and then
no. Talking about the hologram and Commander match.
Oh, okay, I got you. Leading to
yeah. That helped, I think.
It seems like either Cole or Garcia are going to go heel. That's my only comment on that other match. One of those two, I feel like is going to turn in the coming weeks. Don't really care who it is, but yeah. Do you have any other thoughts, Brandon, before we get to AJ?
Damn, kid, I thought you were a big Daniel Garcia guy. He said, I don't really care.
Oh, I mean, I think whether he goes heel, I would prefer him not to turn, but it kind of feels like they're going to turn him in FTR.
I would rather them just do something with him myself. That would be my personal thing. He should be featured more, and he's not, and that really bothers me. So,
at the very least, on Collision, we're getting like good TV matches for that title again, which we hadn't had in a while, like not since Cope was champ. So at the very least, I have enjoyed like his match with Cole, his match with Lee Moriarty. I enjoyed the triple threat. I like the actual caliber of the matches, but it doesn't at all feel like what I was saying about the guys in the main card. Like, where even though Cole has like been in AEW main events, it doesn't feel like a big program at all, as opposed to all this other stuff.
Yeah, the match was fine. I don't know. It's very interesting seeing Adam Cole in the pre-show, but at this point, I'd much rather them just focus on Undisputed Kingdom as a trios and kind of get that division going. But from what I've seen, obviously the match that they had, I've enjoyed the Cole and Garcia stuff so far. The other trios match it was a trios match, right?
It was.
Listen, nothing wrong with the match. It was fine. The crowd loved it. Kid did the power boom. Cool. Nothing wrong with it. But why does he need to wrestle? Does he need to wrestle? Here's the thing about AJ. He is a fantastic promoter. And Tony needs to do something, either be social or something. Let this dude promote shows coming up, Dynamite, Collision, whatever. But does he need, like, you could have put anyone in this match, and nothing would have been different. Yeah, granted, you got a little bit more of a pop with the power boom, but this dude comes out and he's hot dog. He's smacking 5 with every single person around. He did this last time. Every single person he has to high five in there. It's like, bro, like get in the ring. Like, come on. Here. The match was fine. The match was fine. Nothing wrong with it. You know, you can be a little bit more enjoyable as well. But
Rizzler was there.
Rizzler was there.
Hey, he got one of the biggest pops of the whole fucking show, which was crazy. This 8-year-old kid, that was funny, man.
The one thing I'll say is I think AJ get it. I get why they had him get the heat spot, but it went a little too long, and I was like, "Why are we doing this? Why?" Like I felt like the structure of the match was a little wonky, but I thought a lot of people running in, a lot of just weird, like it made sense. It was on the pre-show. You can't really complain. It was where it needed to be. I think that's why I don't get really, some people that are like, oh, why are we? And it's like, it's on the pre-show. Who cares? Like, this is where it needs to be. If you're going to use somebody like this, putting them on the pre-show, which is, being streamed on YouTube, is probably the best place to put it. Anyways.
And TikTok, they streamed this one on TikTok.
Well, there you go.
Did they do that the last time?
I think they did.
I didn't even know TikTok. I didn't know you could stream on TikTok. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can stream on TikTok.
I think when people talk about how much it helps is a bit overrated, but it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? That's my whole thing. Like, it doesn't hurt. If even one fan bought that pay-per-view because of them, cool. Like, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
I will agree with Brandon. I did like it. I didn't like it as much as the first time they did it. But I did kind of think the ending, when you got Hobbs out there and Harley Cameron out there and the Righteous Gemstones people out there, even for me, that was a little too much. Like, I was like, we got like 10 people in the ring.
Hey, whoa.
You want his family in there?
Yeah, you got Taz saying no one needs to go to wrestling school anymore. Everybody's a wrestler. Everyone could just jump in and do this stuff. And that was a little much. I do agree the extended entrance to the point where even the commentators are burying him for taking too long to get in the ring.
Oh, so they mentioned it. Good.
Yes, Taz was like, enough already. Can we get in the ring? Taz was burying the song. He said the longer he gets in the ring, the more the song plays, and I can't hear the song anymore. I agree that is too much.
I mean, Taz was playing heel, but Taz was being
real feelings.
Now he bit that shit.
His real feelings are coming out.
But I as long as it's fun, it's lighthearted. The crowd, the Rizzler was still very over. Some of the high spots were very over. It wasn't exactly the same. The kid getting physical in that manner with the powerbomb, I did think was a good change up from what they did last time with the spear. When it's over and fun and popular, I'm fine with it. And if this match was just MXM versus Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe, like maybe it might have been technically a little better. I don't think it would have been memorable.
No, it would have been a match. It would have been a Dynamite or Collision match, is what it would have been. Here's something I have. What was I going to ask? I was going to ask something and I can't remember what it was. So never mind.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It wasn't too much. There may get a point where this becomes too much. I don't think we're there yet. I think still for that second straight show, it was fun. It was fun. Over.
This is what I was going to say. Have they said who is like training or who's doing this stuff with him? Because it's got to be Dustin, right? Because Dustin's the one they usually have.
You would think, right?
Which,
I don't know. We saw him in the New Japan dojo ring, so
I'm just
maybe Shibata.
Or Nagata's helping him with his.
Yes.
Nagata or what? Or because I wouldn't think Barnett would be up for that. That does not seem like a Barnett thing. Maybe he would be. Maybe he'd be like, hey, if the guy really wants to. But what I was gonna, if it was Dustin, how like the whole time he's been in AEW and all the people that we know that he's helped and you can see all the people that he's helped. What kind of width? Like, I want to know the story of why WWE did not want him to be a coach in NXT. Like, I do not understand it.
Because it's smart, Josh. There you go. Because it's a good idea, and maybe it would have helped them out at that stupid performance center they spent a bunch of money on. Guys, even we still found some way to shit on WWE. Oh man, but yeah, you're right. You're right, Josh. Though
it just seems. You got to think that's why when his contract was up, he didn't go back because he was like, I want to,
Tony also made him like the second most pushed wrestler in Ring of Honor. Like,
yeah, but I'm just, but I mean, I'm just saying, I think it's very weird. So,
All right, and then we had the show opener with Hangman Page versus MJF. Thought this match was great. Didn't think Hangman was going to win. Was glad to see it.
This match was really good live. No, this match was very good live. I think it was even a little bit better watching it back, just because you could, MJF does a lot of playing up, screaming into the camera and stuff like that. And it's the stuff you can really hear from my vantage point.
and it's,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the stuff that he does to the camera, it fits with the story too. It's not like the where I think WWE does it way too much, and they do it like where they're just like cutting promos not to the camera, not to the fans. They're basically just
Plays,
where he's like cutting a promo to the fans because the whole thing is that he's pissed off that
Right.
they love. So it makes sense in a very old school way of how wrestlers used to do that, because wrestlers used to do that all the time in matches where they would talk to the camera and talk to the fan, So,
And I thought this match, compared to what we saw later on in the show, I thought this match was kind of brutal in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we saw, I'm just pointing out two spots when MJF did the tombstone to Hangman on the chair, like
jumping tombstone. It wasn't even.
Never seen anything like that, and that was pretty devastating. And then, obviously, they had the reference to Christopher Daniels when Hangman did the Angel's Wings on MJF, and his face. And we saw that live, and I'm sitting there, and there's a bunch of spots tonight. I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, what is going on? But his whole face goes into the mat. And like I said, yeah, they didn't bleed anything at all, but this match was definitely brutal. I thought that Hangman went for the buckshots a little bit too many times, like maybe once or twice too many times. But I did like the story of, the whole match and everything. Like Chase said, I was kind of surprised to see Hangman won, but definitely a pleasant surprise,
in the chat, Angel of Death Wings. That's funny. But watching it with y'all, I guess because I was fighting with the fucking pay-per-view, I was like, I ain't like that as much. I rewatched it again, and I still don't think I like it as much as the consensus, but I do think it's a great match. I don't want this to be the end. I really don't. I don't, but I kind of feel like it might end up being with, who is getting the title shot next month. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it'll be as long as I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want this to be like Punk and MJF. You know what I mean? That's what I want.
I don't
think they're going to do that.
You think part of that was that this was supposed to be just like a setup, maybe for Hangman, like a setup, like okay, this is a guy that Hangman can beat, that puts him like definitely back in the mix, and that's what this was supposed to be.
But I don't want that.
But just a second, and then it turned into what it turned into. Like,
oh, I got you. It's
like,
maybe I don't know.
I mean, because the thing is, you could probably run this match back again, but Hangman, I would think, would still have to win, and that would be a little. Well, no, I guess you can't, because you have
two pay-per-views.
You have two pay-per-views. You could, yeah, that's true. Okay. But at some point, this is one thing that I thought they were going to do, and it does make me think they're going to do another match, is I thought they were going to do a flaming table spot because of everything that they kind of, and we didn't get that, so.
I agreed with you guys that MJF was going to win when we did this preview show, but when I watched Dynamite, I actually completely flipped, because I thought MJF beat him up so decisively. They had Hangman regain the upper hand and MJF still kick his ass. So it's not like he's kicking his ass just because he got the cheap shot. No, Hangman recovered from the initial cheap shot, and MJF is still beating him down, laid him out, putting gasoline on him. It was a lot. To me at least, it looked like we're giving this guy a lot of heat because he's going to lose on Sunday. And to your point, though, I don't necessarily think the feud ends here. We'll just have to see. You could easily have Max win at Dynasty, Page win at Double or Nothing, something like that.
And honestly, Pro Wrestling 101 kid, we probably should have thought about it, because the rule is whoever gets beat down, the other guy wins. That's the rule.
We recorded before that show, so I thought our assumption was fair at that time. I thought Dynamite gave away the result of this match and the Swerve match. I was actually kind of annoyed. I thought it was a little too much, especially the Swerve match. Like after Ricochet beat him again on TV, like that was almost too much.
They stupid talking about MJF getting the first pop of the show. You're right. He's smart.
I mean, if you're not, it's not a title match. It's not a title match.
It's not a blood feud like the Hollywood ending or the cage match. It probably should have.
Right. Yeah, it was
he always does that though.
I'm just saying though,
what time it is.
It's an easy. Hey, why don't we go on first? Oh yeah, that makes sense. Especially because you're not gonna do.
And he got an extra pop for coming out to Hangman's old music.
Right.
Switch up. Yeah, it's very smart.
Chase,
right.
yes you.
All right, so then we had Momo Kickboxer Watanabe versus Mercedes Moné.
Lesson learned. If you can't get if a crowd is dead when the match starts, just beat the living shit out of each other and they will get into the match. Props to Mercedes because she got absolutely just Christ.
Did she get that from that kick? That's what she got?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Their first match was better than this, but I thought this match was, like you guys said, like more brutal. And you know, that's Momo Watanabe, man. I've been telling people since this girl was like 18, 19, 20, and she's like 24 now. She's like a baby. But like this girl, man, when she's like 30 years old, like she's gonna be, you know, I already think she's one of the best in the world. And when she's like 30, she's gonna be the best in the world. So yeah, she's amazing. And the match was good, but the first match was better. People should watch that first.
Like, this wasn't like a great match. I wouldn't say this was. I would say this was a good match, but I think that they did as dead as the crowd was at the start and where the crowd was at the end. I think they deserve a lot of credit for that because I mean they beat the shit out of each other to get that, but that was.
And for some reason, like their chemistry was off at first. They were like,
they were
kind of weird.
What'd you think live, Brandon?
Good match. It was definitely a little bit longer than I expected. Yeah, I wasn't as in love with it. It seemed like the consensus is online, but I still thought it was a good match. Like you said, people were kind of coming off of the high of the previous match, so it took them a while to get into it. But like you said, once you just start beating the shit out of her, like people definitely got into it for sure. And yeah, I think it's cool that Mercedes kind of gets to call her shots. Like, I feel like she's the one kind of playing this match out. It was like, I want to wrestle her on the pay-per-view, and I think it's pretty fire that she gets the opportunity to be able to do that. I know people were seeking for Harley Cameron to get a rematch, but I don't know, man. Like, I like this title reign that Mercedes is on. She's kind of finding her groove and getting her in the mix with people who are on her level or better. Like, I'd much rather see that right now.
And being a big Momo Watanabe fan, another big match. I gotta watch this girl. being a fan of this woman is hard, y'all. Every time she gets a title shot, wherever she wrestles, she's going to lose.
Where's your anger at Mercedes kicking out of her finisher? Where's the fire?
Yeah. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna be fair. Because it does happen. It does happen, but it usually happens again when she's against like one of her rivals. They had one match against, you know what I mean? One match against each other. I feel like she should have just not even done it. That's the Peach Sunrise, the Rich Clutch exploder suplex that she does. It was kind of whack, bro. I was like, that's annoying. Because like it was almost like it wasn't even like build up. It was like a transition spot, and she just kicked out. I was like, that's a little annoying. Come on, Mercedes, you didn't have to do that. A little bit of politicking there, but yeah, that annoyed me a bit.
So are we getting like a super slow build to Mercedes and Athena?
Tony.
I think Tony's the way to go. I mean, she would feel like she would have to give up that belt. So. Yeah.
I would have Mercedes.
I don't know. It's a very tricky situation.
Have Mercedes drop it to Willow at Double or Nothing, the 1-year anniversary of their first match, and then have Mercedes win the Open.
They're not going that way. You can want that all you want, but they're not going that way.
I don't see the point in having Mercedes carry both belts. Like,
maybe Mercedes will do like, a stopgap for like, let's say, Supercard of Honor and beat Athena.
But no. I don't think that's the. I think
Mercedes versus Athena super. Is that show even confirmed?
no.
Yeah, they do it every April. It's gonna
But
happen.
have we confirmed it this year though?
It's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen.
It's
And
getting
that
pretty late in the game.
Yeah,
but they did that last year. Remember, they just started announcing matches last year. I'm just saying because the whole idea is that Mercedes is this belt collector, right? Like, just add that to it. You know what I mean? And then Athena hasn't been on TV at all. You know what I'm saying?
Is Mercedes gonna literally walk on TV with like literal 8 championships? Like,
why not?
Why not?
They did tease Homegirl during this match, right? So
Yes.
I mean, they might go in that
Billy
direction.
Starks, yeah.
Billy
Oh,
Starks,
Tony
yeah.
Storm is going to be in a prominent. I don't know what match you can do with Tony at All In, with anyone else in the roster that'll have.
Yeah,
this.
and
You can heat up the Jamie thing again.
Yeah, and then the story can be when Mercedes like challenges her because she'll probably lose all those belts before then. She was like, I spent all this time winning all these titles and things like that, but I ignored you in this one because you've been with the actual, like, everyone goes, she's the other champ. I mean, she could talk, maybe, but she can't talk. But if she's the other champion, not the champion. I want to be the lady, you know what I mean? But I imagine Mercedes will do that much lamer than I did because she can't talk. But yeah, there you go. That's how you do it. Don't know if they'll do it that way though.
All right,
Awkward silence. What the fuck?
Jason's
know,
really bad at
you know,
transitions
slow.
in there.
I'm not on the ball today.
It's all good.
Then we had Swerve versus Ricochet for the number 1 contendership match. Thought this match was really great. The robe shenanigans besides. I still love Swerve. Still think he can be the guy.
What are the shenanigans with the robe?
What?
When
You don't
Nana
remember
was like
Nana
interfering in the match.
and Ricochet were playing tug of war with it. Oh yeah,
I
that's a
did-
good point. This was the
Leslie
Leslie
Jones
match.
match.
Yeah. This was, we could see her down there. We were trying to figure out at first who it was, and that's when we saw in the chat, like, oh, this is Leslie Jones, and we spent the whole time trying to figure out what drugs that she was on because she was
Jumping
like
up and down
absolutely
the
on
whole
one.
time.
Absolutely on one.
Was she like that the entire show or just during this match?
She was like that for that match. She was like that during the women's match. She left at one point and then came back, and I don't think she was there for the main event. So, but yeah, she was very, very animated. for
Smart.
sure.
She did a good job, Leslie.
Yeah. But yeah, this match was great. Yeah, I did think it was a little bit too much of the robe situation going on, especially when the robe is right there and Nana standing right next to it and like, bro, just grab it. Like, it's right there. I doubt it got shown on camera, but there was a point where he was touching the rope. He was looking at it, just feeling it up, and then walked away. I'm like, you have it in your hands. What are we doing on here? But Swerve and Ricochet, they're great opponents. I really enjoy their matches. Someone mentioned it. They did the vertebreaker on the table, which was a 6 spot. They did the where Swerve, was it Swerve that got? No. Ricochet caught Swerve to do the Death Valley driver on the floor and nearly killed the man. My God, that was another one that we freaked out about. But I thought the match was really good. It's probably one of my favorites of the night. And, you know, the fact that it establishes Swerve as the number 1 contender, like, all you do is hope that he can go in there and beat Mox. Who knows what's going to happen? But definitely excited to see Ricochet is, you know, not improving, but I feel like he's finding his place in this company. And he's like, and I kind of was wrong with saying like he could be like a main eventer. Like when he first came in, I was not on that train. I thought he would be a good hand, but he's definitely shut me up. And I've enjoyed his character work and the fact that he puts on great matches here. I really enjoyed this a lot.
All right, so I got to be old man, get off my line, curmudgeon, I guess, for this one, right? I did like it a lot. Like, I did enjoy it quite a bit. Couple things about it bothered me a lot. And in fact, I'm glad y'all brought up Nana and the robe and stuff because it hampered my enjoyment a bit for something they did later on in the night, and I'm sure me and Kid will talk about. The thing I didn't like about this is, as much as I love that vertebreaker spot on the table, good God, it should have led to the finish. Just a vertebreaker on a table, and then Ricochet kicked out and was doing flips right after that. I was like, oh nah, bro, nah, man. Like I really liked this match, but that bothered me, bro. I'm like, this is the cop killer on an announce table, and this fool is just doing flips. What the hell, man? What are we doing? I thought that should have led to the ending. But yeah, other than that, thought it was great.
Oh, let me tell you something. Live, whoever decided, I feel like it was Swerve. Who decided to bring the drummer out to do his entrance.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Live, it was terrible, and I watched it back. It was even worse.
It was bad on TV. Yeah.
Again, I feel like that was a Swerve thing. That was horrible. Horrible.
Just have a live band. Like, why have the drummer play while the music is playing in the background? If you make a choice, you can't do both. Make a decision. You know what I mean?
His
bad.
timing was so far off.
Yeah, it was not. It was like, what are we doing? So speaking of, because you guys pretty much said everything I was going to say about this match. The stars that were there because they were in LA. One of the things I wanted to bring up is I thought it was really like, this is a pay-per-view. I get that. But this felt like so much more, even though it probably wasn't star-studded, than that first Raw on Netflix, where they were like having WWE people there and pretending they were like stars, and it felt like when I was watching it, like, well, did they just not get as many people as they thought they were going to get to do this? And that's why they're having to do this, because they already laid everything out, and like they thought they were going to get more people, but I felt AEW did a better job of highlighting that, hey, look, there are people here, there are celebrities here, type of thing. So,
had them acting like fans.
I could give you a hug.
The fact that Leslie Jones and Kim Jong, they were acting like fans, which was really cool to see, versus you have somebody like Tyrese Halliburton show up on SmackDown and he's just smiling, and
they put the camera on him and then he waves and goes.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's the fact that they're using their celebrities almost in a different manner, where Leslie Jones is a cheerleader for Swerve. She's losing her mind for Swerve. And then Ricochet is getting heat with Kim Jong, which everyone pretty much loves. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool to see.
And then I think even like, and I get that, you had the movie tie-in with the women's match, and I get that, protecting the business and all of that, but that stupid interview. But that even felt,
hey, I laughed. I was like, no. Somebody should coach this woman.
That felt even better. That felt even better than what you normally get like from WWE when they do this. So, and maybe it's just because they're like, hey, you want to show up, you want to do something, and they're like, yeah, and they're like, what do you want us to do? And like, just do whatever you want to do. I wonder if that's part of it too. That there's, it's kind of like, do what you want to do and just be here, type of thing. So
I forget his name. There was one of the comedians they pointed out at the end of the match, to Brandon's point, like he's doing the Swerve dance, and I think like that's what like fans want to see, is like not just they're there to wave to the camera and celebrate the product, like they actually care. They actually care
about Brad Williams, the comedian.
Yes, I think that's who it was. I didn't hear the name, but
little person.
He kept. But when they highlighted him, he was dancing along to Swerve's song, and like that's.
Did they ever say that I can't think of the guy's name, the old Celtic player that was there, and like he was like on the second row. It was hard to miss.
No, not Celtic player. You're thinking of
not Celtic.
You're thinking of Michael Cooper. Michael Cooper was out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever?
That's an old Lakers player, Josh. Damn, you about to get fucked up.
No. I was thinking Lakers. I said Celtics.
You're in LA. That's your clue.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that was weird. Like, did they ever say that that's who that was? I mean, he's hard to fucking miss.
Oh, they didn't point him or Young Gravy out.
It's like,
Young Gravy. Who the fuck is that? Seriously, I'm not even trying to be funny.
No clue. No clue.
I listen to a lot of music. If y'all in the Discord, y'all know I be posting some of the most off the wall shit. I have never in my life heard of Young Gravy, man. Never in my life.
He's probably like a Nepo baby or something.
You know who that is, Chase?
Yes.
I don't know who that is.
All right, when we get off here, send me some of Young Gravy stuff, man.
I'm not a fan, but
one thought, two thought, red thought, blue thought. That's one of his hot songs. All right, we'll listen to it.
Before we go to the next match, I just want to say I hope Ricochet gets something good after this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like please don't just don't have be in a tag team or in a trio situation or fighting for one of the random ROH titles. Like give him someone that matters. Like if you're not going to do Hangman and Max, which they probably will, but if they're not, Give him Hangman. That'd be like a fun dynamic that I think the crowd would like. Like, dude, give him something important. I hope. We'll see.
Anyways, so next we had sleeping it off Okada versus beating the shit out of him, Brody King. Okada did not bring it, but Brody King beat the shit out of him anyway.
Didn't expect that he would, so I didn't get my hopes up for this match. It was fine.
It was fine. It was
Nothing wrong
good.
with
It was good. He got the shit. He let Brody King just beat the shit out of him, which is fine. If he's not going to do anything, this is the better alternative.
At this point, you're just counting down to the Omega match, which I'm not super looking forward to, but that seems what the path they're going to be on. So,
when is he gonna bring it then? Like I've been told by everyone, well, he doesn't bring it on TV. Like that was like the excuse. Like he views TV differently. He's not gonna bring it. This is an important pay.
I mean, he brought it. I mean,
my third best match of the year was World's End.
I love that match too. That was with the guy who has a caliber of that match every month with everybody on the roster. Only when it's Osprey and Okada and Omega. That's only when he's going to give a shit.
He's truth be told, I think he's at the point where if he respects you, he'll take it there because he took it there with Pac. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think just being honest. I don't think he respects all these dudes, bro. That's what I get. I don't think he respects, honestly, the letters AEW. I think this is the place where he gets paid. and he's gonna work hard with guys he respects. I hate to say that about Okada, but I think at this point it's just a reality. You know what I mean? I think he's proved it. PTO Okada.
Will he try at Forbidden Door when he has a match against Nakamura?
No, because Nakamura will also not try.
That will be that if that match happens, that will be the ultimate smoke and mirrors. We're gonna walk around for 5 minutes while everyone loses their shit, and then we're gonna play to the crowd, and we're all gonna be like, "That was awesome," and they will have done absolutely nothing.
And they'll play all the hits.
Right. And we're all going to be like, that was great. And then you're going to go back and go, they did absolutely jack shit, which maybe means it's even actually better than we thought. Anyways, yeah.
Well, see, I'm thinking it'll be more like when Owen Hart and Mick Foley knew Dave Meltzer was in the crowd and intentionally tried to have the worst match ever.
You think it'd be like
yeah. But do we even know if Nakamura's getting out of that contract? I know Wade Keller said it, but
the word is they're not re-signing him, man.
Well, Dave said today on today's WOR that WWE told him Nakamura's not leaving. They didn't deny what Wade Keller said. His contract might actually be running out, but they told him that he's not leaving. So it's kind of ambiguous still, I think.
I mean,
who cares at this point?
If
it's cool if he does or whatever if he does.
They also told Trevor Lee, formerly known as Cameron Grimes, that he has a job for life, dude. So who the fuck knows? Who knows?
On Okada, but do you guys I get that it's kind of like a meme that LOL, Okada's not really going to try, but why would we want to re-sign him if it's just going to be like this?
Oh, I mean,
you eventually get those matches that. Like you said,
you signed him. You signed him to get the Omega match. You signed there are matches you signed him for, but
But once we cycle through the 3 or 4 guys he respects, whatever the number is,
maybe he'll go back to Japan. Then maybe he'll
maybe he'll just go. I legit think one day he will go back to Japan. I just think right now they just don't have money for him, but he'll be back. I 100% believe that. Just like Nakamura. I said when Nakamura signed with the WWE, one day he'll be back. And it seems like he'll probably be back.
Well, then we had the Hurt Syndicate just having a thing with the Outrunners. And
wasn't having a thing. They had an actual match. They didn't need to have an actual match. They needed to have, what are we doing?
Squash these geeks.
Yes.
8 minutes. Didn't need to go 8 minutes.
It needed to go 5, maybe.
This is the stuff that will make the Outrunners lose their momentum with the crowd. Is when you put them in matches like this, and
the last maybe 45 seconds of that match were exactly what the rest of the match should have been, and you can give them hope spots. You can have them make it where, hey, the Hurt Business gets frustrated and then destroys them, but it doesn't need. It went way too long. It was like, So
I felt bad for him because every time they got the crowd into it, they fuck something up and then lose the crowd.
Well, and the thing is like the crowd, like you could tell the crowd was cheering for them, but they also wanted to cheer for the Hurt Business. It was one of those weird things.
But we knew that. We talked about this last week.
I know.
They're the cool badasses, and you're supposed to cheer for the Outrunners when they're getting their asses kicked and they're chanting, "Let's go, Bobby."
I remember, kid, it's not gonna be any good. And fuck this man. Like
this was worse than I thought it would be. This was even worse than I thought it would be, and I thought it would be bad.
I think you might be right. It's pretty
like
pretty
I'm
bad.
watching this and I'm going, we're going this long. We could have had Cage and Archer in this spot, and this would have been so much better. So much better.
My theory is that there's some, remember like All In for the first Wembley show, there was like a lot of matches they were building that we didn't get, and we randomly got them all at All Out, like the Cassidy Moxley match, Kenny and Takeshita, and
you think it's Dynasty? You think it's Dynasty?
Yeah, I think like stuff like that match, stuff like the Cole Garcia stuff that never got paid off on pay-per-view, I think that's intentionally held off because they only have like I think 3 weeks of TV before Dynasty, maybe 4. They don't have as much time as they did for Revolution, so I think they're saving stuff.
Where the hell are the Young Bucks? Why were they not on the show?
They were probably backstage.
Yeah, but they weren't on the show. It's in Los Angeles at Crypto. You would think they would have been here, but got to get back.
All right, well, then we had the Hollywood ending Type A death match with Toni Storm versus Mariah May. This was fucking crazy.
Can I just say, everyone that is hating on this match needs to get a fucking life.
What's
like,
the hate?
Who is hating on this match? Who?
The people you think. The people who you think.
Are you? No, they are really no. Stop. No, they are really not pulling this for this. They've been feuding for like a year.
Yes.
No,
there was too much.
Way.
There was
Josh,
too much
no
blood.
Way.
There was too much blood. They're not comfortable with seeing the women bleed like that.
If any match deserves it, it's this one.
Like that
what
whole
are we
bit,
doing?
Like that whole bit. I'm just like, I hope none of you go back and watch like 90s All Japan because
for this match, like, bro,
yes.
Toni Storm's entire life has been Mariah May. Same thing. What are we doing? Oh my god! Oh. This is why. What was it? Yesterday I posted, I hate pro wrestling fans. That wasn't the reason why, but shit like that is why. It's like they don't like pro wrestling. What? This is pro wrestling. These two women have systematically destroyed each other's lives for like a year. I haven't liked everything because I think a lot of the Thomas Tony stuff is goofy, but to pay it off, it had to be this. So what is the complaint here? They had to take the level of violence up to something that like we have never seen.
You know what they want? No, what they wanted an NXT style plunder match is what they wanted.
But they don't hurt each other. They don't hurt each other.
I understand, but we just saw look what we just saw at Elimination Chamber, and all of these people, Dave Meltzer giving that thing 5 stars, and that
one of the most violent matches ever. And you had how many matches? Really more violent than this one.
Stop watching this show, then. If you really feel like that match was too much, then you don't understand pro wrestling. I hate to sound pretentious. But no, you don't understand it. You just don't get it. Me and you watch two different things then.
Like
just watch the promos.
If you are going to say that you're not comfortable watching the women be pro wrestlers, right? Be pro wrestlers, then you're basically saying you just want Divas era women's wrestling. That's what you want. Maybe with a little bit more athleticism thrown in. That's not what I watch women's wrestling for. That's not what I want women's. I want stuff like this. I want stuff, like the other women's match, which is more physical. But yeah, they just go like, we're not comfortable seeing the women bleed like that.
Phoenix, it's good that you were uncomfortable. You should have been. That's a good thing. It's a good thing you were uncomfortable. You absolutely should have been, because these two women hate each other, and you need to feel like they are trying to kill each other. That's how you need. And I felt like that. This was everything, man. This was like for my match of the year. Still Kenny and Gabe Kidd. That's still my match of the year. But this is a very, 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 very close second. The last shot with Tony hugging Mariah really close with the belt draped on her back with the end at the top. That's how we should have faded to black on the pay-per-view, man. That would have been perfect. This match was perfect. They turned into Axel and Ian Rotten. Like they had an impromptu Taipei death match, man. This was incredible. Like, this was unbelievably great. I cannot believe how great this was. And like Mariah May, y'all know I've never wavered. Y'all know when they signed her, I was like, I love this woman. This woman looks so non-dangerous, but she's actually an ass kicker. And this is the first time where she felt like an ass kicker because she literally tried to kill this woman. And then the callbacks to the turn with the shoot, everything was perfect, man. The destination, look, the journey there, I could have done without, but the destination was all worth it. I take every goofy thing they did on Dynamite so I can get this match again, man.
What I loved about it, like, I didn't like anything really about the story. Like, I wasn't really into any of the story parts of it. But the 3 matches that they had, I enjoyed all of them. Like, when they got in the ring and was going to work, like, I enjoyed all of those. And this match included.
You didn't like the turn?
My girlfriend.
You didn't like
what's
the
that?
Turn? You didn't like the turn?
I mean, the turn was cool. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
but everything.
I'm about to say, man, come on now.
My girlfriend, she was with me. She absolutely loved this match. She adored it. She thought it was one of the greatest things that she's ever seen. There was a spot that I didn't catch it until I watched it back on the pay-per-view. But when they're laying in the ring, and Tony's face is just covered in blood, and they do a top-down shot of it. And for some reason, the top-down shot, I don't know if they use a certain camera or they use a filter or something like that, but it looked like a horror movie the way they were set up. It was so good. Yeah, man, I love this. This was, I was trying to figure out if I enjoyed this or that Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander match more. They had back at All Out. But I think this one, is definitely over the top for sure.
My girlfriend pointed it out because, she likes old movies and shit like that. She was like, oh, she has her makeup like Betty Davis. You see her mascara running it with the blood. I'm like, all right, you nerd. But yeah.
No,
yeah,
like the fact that, okay, so she had like the makeup on, but she had caked on, right, the foundation to where she didn't have to wear, I think that's why one of the reasons the blood looked so bad was because she had caked on that foundation so much that when it started running, it looked like death. I mean, there was a lot of it. There was a lot of it anyways, but even when it started drying, it was just like
Tony Storm, Hall of Fame bleeder. Every time she gets color, it's amazing. Every time, every single time. Go ahead, kid. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, I have nothing to add. It was incredible. I don't know why. I truly can't explain why I'm giving it 4 1/4 and everyone else is giving it 5. I watched it. I thought it was awesome. Go to the Discord. I'm like, yeah, that was an awesome match. And I see 5 stars, 5 stars. I'm like, where did I just not? Maybe if I was in the same room with you guys, if I was there, for example, if I was live in the crowd, I like the Osprey match a little bit more.
I don't hate that rating.
I don't hate the rating. I didn't go 5.
4 to 5 stars is relative, man. If you think a match is 4 stars, that means you think it's great. When you start adding stuff, that just means how great you thought it was, man. It is what.
And I liked the build-up more than anyone else here, because I do think it should be remembered as a historic AEW feud because it got Tony to a different level, and it got Mariah May to be a credible, higher level woman on the roster. It is not the same if you do this with Tony and some of the other girls that you may think are better than Mariah. The other women,
no. She was the perfect person to do this story with. That's not the you're right there. It's not that. It's just there was a lot of goofy shit that just was really goofy. So, but that's, and I am so anti
Tony Storm and Mariah May were a little too artistic with this shit at times. It was a little much at times, but yeah. Look, I got this match, man.
You know what? I'm gonna piss both of you off. This is what It got to the point where, when Chikara would go,
hey, watch your mouth.
I'm just saying, there are times when it would do that. There are times when they get a little too cutesy. There's a time they get a little too, and you'd be like, "Come on, This is a little bit
we don't have time. We don't have time. But
using Chikara like it's pejorative, like Tony's not like a top 5 overact in the entire company.
I'm just saying.
That's just good wrestling, Josh. That's just good wrestling. Sorry.
I'm just saying.
Don't care, man. Because let me tell you, Toni Storm was one of the least irrelevant characters before this timeless thing happened. Her other women.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't. No.
She was with the Outsiders.
Do you not remember All Out 22? Where it was
Jamie Hayter was more over than her in that match.
Well,
yes.
She's right. Because remember the Outcast? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Tony, Ruby, and Saraya. They would come, their music would play, and the crowd would just be silent as they walked away.
Nobody gave a damn. Nobody gave a damn about them for months. That's true. That's a good point.
And then Sheeta beat her, and it got a huge pop. People were happy to see Sheeta get the title. And then Toni turned into Timeless, and now she's turned into a completely different animal than what she was before that. I'm not talking when she first debuted in the company. I'm talking specifically that summer when she was champion for 3 months.
But that's not what you said.
Fine.
That's not, but I knew what he meant. I
know.
I was trying to convey the point that her before and after the Toni gimmick specifically is a wide delta. Why?
Okay, but you acted like since she's been in AEW, and that's not been the case.
It was, but like that. Even when she came in,
cheer her.
But when she was
arguing semantics right now. We arguing semantics right now.
She was in a horrible group with Saraya, who is like
it just wasn't over.
But that whole group wasn't over because of that. Like she shouldn't have been in the. But anyways, beside the point.
Awesome match.
Yes.
So you obviously hated it, kid, because you went. Obviously.
I like what Sean said. Sometimes matches just hit. Like I don't know. Sometimes it's just random luck that the same match, two similarly minded wrestling fans, just the way you're feeling that day. I don't know what it is.
Like I'll say this: if I had told you that we would get like the Tope guest match spot in AEW, if I told you it was going to be the women, would you have believed me?
No. I would have been like, that's going to be like John Moxley or something.
Hangman Swerve.
Yeah, something like that. They think it'd be Toni Storm and Mariah May of all people. No, not at all. But I do y'all one better. I love this match so much that I know at the end of the year when I inevitably do my top 10 list and turn it into VOW, this will most likely be a match I go back to and I think about and will probably be on there, to be honest.
It's only March.
Yeah, I know. But that's how high I was on Kenny and Gabe. And I think this is like right there with it. You know what I mean? I think it's like literally right there. And I do you one better. I know me. I know no other match on this show I'll go back and think about it that way. But this one. I do know that. 100%.
For what it's worth, I don't remember if we talked about this or not. On Cage match, the Osprey match is slightly higher. Like I think ever so slightly.
A little bit. Yeah.
No, it isn't.
It was earlier today.
It was for hours. Yeah.
9.50 versus 9.48, but that's getting ahead of the game because we got to go to 8.99 with Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Good job.
8.99 seems high. Sorry.
I mean, I'm with you, kid. I'm with you, kid. Let's tell everybody why we hated it. Go ahead.
Oh my God. We're going to do this now? I thought we were going to like praise the match first, then shit on the ending. I did not like the callous interference at the end of the match because the whole story of this feud is that Takeshita owns him. Takeshita beat him clean in 2023.
That's not the story.
Stop.
That's not the story.
How is it not the story? Why? Hold on. No. Why can it not be the story though? They did it the whole match. Like he was during the match. Kenny, he's holding his sternum, the diverticulitis, and all this other shit. Oh, he can't breathe. Oh, he's struggling because he's
okay.
We didn't need callous.
Okay, so
we did not need him.
Progressing that part of the story though, which is that you're not progressing that part of the story.
But even
the only way I'd be cool with it is if like this means like to catch the turn on him because I didn't need you to get involved. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you jumping in my match? Cool. Yeah. Like fine, that's something else entirely.
At some point,
but in this vacuum, Josh. It bothered me in the vacuum. Okay, I'm not saying the match was terrible. I'm saying in a vacuum.
I'm just saying that you're basically what you have right now is you have you can go one or two ways. You can either say this is Heenan and Hogan, right? Or you can say it's Heenan and Orndorff. It's one of those two. In both cases, the feud is, yes, it's whoever he puts in front of them, right? Who can be a big star, but the feud is with him. It is with Callis. The overall feud is with Callis. It is not.
But I'm fine.
Well, I'm talking about the match.
and I'm even, but Josh, I said this to you the night of the show as well. I would have been okay if, like, earlier in the match, something like that happened. The ref kicks Callis out, so you get his involvement in some form.
But that goes against the story.
No. I disagree wholeheartedly, because they build this, not just that Takeshita had beaten him multiple times, had beaten him clean twice in 1 week. They also repeatedly said that Kenny has not had a singles match on pay-per-view in so long. He's had the surgery, is even the same guy. And that's why Marquis really wanted that story where Takeshita looks like the better, superior wrestler, and Kenny has to see if he can overcome that. Not that he has to overcome that and the interference on the side.
Yeah, if they do kids' idea, it serves us both. Like, both of us are happy at that point.
No, that's not.
It serves us both.
No, it's not.
What did that interference actually? Okay, but Josh, to your point, like, Kenny won anyway. So what the fuck did that interference even add to your side of the story?
Ooh.
No,
Like, Kenny overcame the interference, beat him clean.
And Heenan, whenever he would interfere, it would not end up
But that's why they can still do. They can still do.
But you can't have him kicked out. You can't kick him out. He has to be there. That's the.
Because he was there. He was there.
No. You have to have him there for the whole match. You have to have him there through the whole match. That's what they're going for. That's what the story is.
You're really underselling that a part of the story is, like, the internal struggle of whether or not he can even beat this guy separate from.
Yeah. Why can't it be both things? Why can't we both be right? And I agree with you. The story is Kenny versus Don Callis. I agree with you. But why can't it also be for Takeshita?
That's what they did. But that's what they did.
But they did. My point and me and Kid's point is that they didn't do it well enough. That's me and Kid's point.
It's an execute.
The way they did it wasn't necessary. If you did it a little bit earlier, it may have worked a little bit better.
What Kid said would benefit us both. It'll do what you said. It'll do what I said.
I think the roll-up finish, I think, would have come up even better too. It would have been like, this guy was about to lose and he had to do something clever to get out of this match.
I didn't like the roll-up finish. That's where I thought the roll-up finish was that was
the only thing I wasn't a fan of. I enjoyed the match a lot, but the roll-up finish was the only thing I was like, damn.
To tell the story, you can't do the roll-up finish. That's the thing.
But the roll-up finish plays into what me and Ken were talking about. So what are we doing here?
Well,
me and Ken are saying that Takeshita is physically better than this man, so Kenny had to be craftier and beat him a different way. But you're saying you didn't like the roll-up finish. You know what I mean? So it failed us both. That's what you're telling me. It failed us both. That's what you're telling me.
You can tell that story and not do a roll-up finish.
But I think we can all agree doing the roll-up finish in the midst of the Callis interference is why, like,
it's
weird.
It's weird.
Like, I feel like I had climax that finish sequence differently. I think the roll-up finish would have come off.
Fine, then say that you didn't like. Here's the thing. That's not what you guys said.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's not what you guys said.
Oh my god.
But that's not what you said.
This feels like a generational divide.
Yes, I'm guessing it is, because that's not what you guys said at all. So
no, and let me get this clear. I do think it was smartly worked. I do think it was a great match. Don't get me wrong. But I've seen, like Kid said, 8.99. That's almost 9. No, 5 stars. I've seen people give this 5. Hell, the chat lit up during in the Discord like 5. I'm like, brother, come on, man. Come on, seriously.
To me, this tops out at like a 4 or 5. It tops out.
It was really great. It was great. I might even go for like 4.5. I don't know. I got to think about it. But at no point I was like 5 star. That's crazy. That's crazy. And look, Tane was like, I didn't even go 4. He 3.7.
I went 4 flat.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when people throw out that 5 too easy, bro. Y'all have turned into Dave Meltzer with that 5, bro. That shit is crazy. Crazy, man.
Brandon, what did you think live?
It was no 5 match. I enjoyed it. It was a little bit slow to get into it because obviously everyone was into
they had to calm
the sprint that we saw the match before. And I should have said, in hindsight, that definitely should have main evented. They should have main evented with that.
Oh
split.
yeah. Oh, forget. We didn't even talk about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that.
But I thought this match was really good. Like I said, I didn't care that much for the roll-up finish, but maybe it played into the story a little bit better to do that. Was this as good as their last match? I don't know, but this was different than their last match. I haven't rewatched that all-out match. Maybe I should and watch.
I did. What this morning to prepare for this show and some of my takes because I didn't want to be wrong.
Right.
but yeah, I don't know. I think they're both very different. I don't.
Yeah, they're different.
No, live in that point because I haven't rewatched this match either. But live, I enjoyed the match for sure. The interference, you kind of expect that stuff from a match that includes Don Callis, so it didn't affect me too much. But I don't know. I can see both of you guys' points for sure.
Alvarez said he thought they were going to do this again. He didn't think this was the last match in the feud. It's unclear.
Of course.
Well, I mean, they could go either way. Takeshi's already beaten him twice. You don't have to keep going.
I think a lot of people were maybe overrating this match because it was Omega's first big match back in AEW, and everyone loves Kenny Omega, so people are going to have that expectation.
I talked about last week, right?
I wonder if the people who are like way overrating it are not those people. I wonder if it's the people who don't normally like Kenny Omega matches or say they don't like Kenny Omega matches. But because this match was worked different, because it was kind of slow, it was slow and prodding, but not slow and prodding in a bad way. It was slow, it was more selling. It was more like, I wonder if you have a lot of people go, oh, well, this is different. I like this Kenny Omega match. I wonder if that's part of it, because I can't see watching this. Like
his idea in the chat, I love his idea. The 2 out of 3 falls. That's perfect.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you do that, it needs to go like 45 minutes to an hour. You can't like that. That's my thing with the 2 out of 3 falls match. And they pretty much have done that in AEW where those go long. It's not 30 minutes.
With the one exception being the Beast Mordos and Hologram, where Hologram had never lost and Beast Mordos just like pinned him in the middle of the 2 out of 3 falls match, like 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Just beat him. But Hologram won the match, so I guess it doesn't count.
Anyways,
I think these long, slow burn epics though play to Kenny Omega's strength because we saw during that sprint of a tag match, my man was sucking wind and having trouble keeping up. If you give him a sprint, if you let him do something like this, I think this is the best.
Maybe he's just not. Maybe he's just not ready for that yet.
Yeah, of course. I don't expect him to be. He almost died. He's 41 years old, man. I don't expect him to be.
The 1 count was great. Like for me, I'm like watching the match, like kind of like in a relaxed mind. I'm not falling asleep. I'm enjoying it, but like I'm still kind of calm. And then the 1 count happens, and it's like a jolt. It's like, oh wow, here we go. Like that was well timed. I think in this
crowd definitely popped for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
can we talk about this crowd? By the way, the fact that there was
y'all were amazing.
11,000 people or whatever. That's crazy. So,
what's the final number? Have they said?
No.
Like I said, probably 11-ish.
You'll get that on Friday. Anyways, let's talk about the best cage match of the week. Seth Rollins. For all the hype, I was really disappointed. It was just way too many kicking out of finishers. And then at the end, Roman Reigns just comes in and yanks out Seth Rollins.
What are we doing? What's happening right now?
Just completely whack.
What is happening, man?
I think he's proving a point.
Didn't Seth kick out of like 3 GTSs when like no one's kicked out of it in months or something?
Yes. I saw a lot of people being hyped about the suplex. He got suplexed off the top of the ladder.
Off the top of the cage.
Not really, but whatever. Let him have it.
Anyways, Will Osprey versus Kyle Fletcher. I thought this could have had some time shaved off of it and left out Mark Davis. I don't know about you guys.
The second Mark Davis thing. The first one I got because that is part of the story, but you didn't need it the second time. So
as far as like it was okay when he came out the first time and brought the bag of weapons, but the fact that he got in the cage the second, I could see that for sure.
Yeah. And like the refs locked him out the second time, but didn't the first time for some arbitrary pro wrestling reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were going for with this entrance for Will Osprey. This little intro that they had.
Oh, it was awful.
I don't think it went. It did not. It did not get over with the crowd at all. So I don't even know.
I thought he changed his music. I was scared to death. I was like, "Oh fuck, this sucks." And then the elevator started playing. So
the visual of both of them at the top of the cage is pretty cool. It didn't seem like this cage was sturdy because they were throwing each other into the sides, and that thing was swaying very badly. But yeah, this match was insane. I see a lot of people saying it was a little bit too much.
It's a cage match.
Mean,
Cage match on the 7th month feud, like with Osprey in it.
Here we go. Same fucking people. Mariah May and Tony Storm was too much. This cage match is too much, really? Will Osprey let this man stay in his house when they lived in Japan together? Will Osprey is the reason why you even know who Kyle Fletcher is. Of course, they would do all this to each other. What the fuck do y'all want in pro wrestling? What do y'all want? This is getting on my nerves, man.
They want matches to stop. They want matches to stop and guys to cut promos on each other, and then
they want to chant OTC.
Yes,
that's what they should have tried to kill each other. If I was Will Osprey, I'd try and kill this motherfucker too.
Yeah,
man, what are we doing, man?
Lost art of pro wrestling. Match was cool. Some crazy spots.
What happened to the game I love, man? What happened to the game I love?
When Osprey did the Spider-Man grab onto the cage and jump off to do the Os Cutter, that was sick.
I liked that they set up the fact that they couldn't do a lot of moves because of the cage was like too close. I liked that.
Yeah.
Do we think the Spanish Fly was too much? I was genuinely scared, which it's kind of fucked up. But it makes
landed right on his hip and he limped out.
Yeah. I mean, it did make the match better for me. I hate to say it, like that feeling where I'm generating real emotion and I'm actually scared, and then they keep on going, and I know no one's dead. Like I don't know, like it adds to the match for me.
Well, and it wasn't and this was a shorter cage than what they normally used because that was.
Was it? Because when I first saw it at the top, I was like, that cage looked smaller, but then when it came down, I don't know. I felt like it was maybe the same size they've always used.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It
might have been a little small.
Like not a lot, maybe, but enough to where it doesn't look like it didn't look scary for people to be up there. Let me put it that way. Gotcha. Where the other cage looked fucking scary when people were up there.
They also had platforms when it was a little bit higher. So yeah, that might be true. Yeah. I see the people complaining that the Styles Clash should have ended the match. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, even though it was very
brutal. That's a brutal.
Yeah.
You got taxed in the dick.
Surely he had a cup. Surely he had a cup.
The only thing that like kind of bothered me a bit, goddamn it, I hate to sound like a curmudgeon, but we saw this Spanish Fly off the top of the cage onto the ground. And like Kyle Fletcher was like already starting to get up. I'm like, just lay there for a little bit longer. And then I fucking hate you, like holding himself. Do all that for just let it breathe just a second. You just took a Spanish Fly off the top of the cage, sir. Just 1 second. Just let it breathe a little bit, then go into that. Then that would have been even more effective. Maybe like Will's waiting for him to get up and then he's like starting to come to it. And he realized like, oh shit, I can't. And he sees Will. He goes, no, I can't move. I don't want you to. And then bam, yeah. So he popped right up. It was kind of weird.
The finish for the feud always should have been the Tiger Driver. Like that's how this whole thing started. Like Screwdriver, Tiger Driver. Like it makes sense that those are in the closing sequences of the match. Maybe you just, for those people that complained about it, maybe just don't have the Styles Clash spot, but that's how the World's End match ended. So I think it fits in the story too. And I think that's why I like this. This is my favorite match in the show. Like it just, not that the Storm Mariah match also did this, but I felt like in this match, there were so many callbacks to the feud, to their other matches, to sequences in their other matches. And yeah, when you include all that, it may come off as a lot, but on a cage match on their second or third biggest pay-per-view of the year, like it fits. Like it fits. I'm fine with it.
No, the match was like, other than just being a little too much, but they're going to get that we figured we were going to get that anyways. So
I was surprised by the placement of this match. I thought it would be a little bit earlier in the show, but
maybe in hindsight, doing those big
yeah,
four
I was
matches
gonna say, yeah.
in
Mhm.
sequence, maybe like throw in an Okada match.
no. I prefer this.
Like
I
me and Josh already do it New Japan style.
You guys
Get
prefer
the
that?
bullshit out the way, and then let's go with everything.
I
Yeah.
don't think Copeland and Moxley appreciated
Yeah,
that.
well,
well, that's their fault. That's their fault for going almost 30 minutes. They did need to go 30 minutes for that match.
Awesome match.
Man. Yeah, it's incredible.
Well,
All right, let me say something good about this main event. I am happy that hopefully the Cope World Title Chase story is over. Like, we got it done. We had to not suffer, but we had to sit through it for a couple of months. But now it's over. The AEW cash-in contract situation is over. Don't have to worry about that, at least right now. Hopefully they don't bring it back, but at least right now, that is completely done. We got rid of it. It's in the past. I'm very happy about both of those things. I'm happy that the fact that Swerve won the number one contenders match, and I'd much rather see Swerve versus Mox versus Swerve versus Cope. Those are the things that I'm pretty much excited about after this match here. The match itself, I've seen people say that this was the worst main event ever on a pay-per-view.
Ever?
That's what I've seen.
Like
And
all
people
of
have
us.
been throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which that's such a crazy saying. But people have been throwing the baby out the bathwater in this pay-per-view because of the ending of the show, this match. And I don't agree with that at all. I think that's taking things way too far. I enjoyed everything, for the most part, everything before this. This match, we were not excited going into it.
They got us kind of excited for it. That's I think that was quite.
What would have been the best outcome for this? A good match where Mox won?
3 and like 3 and
and where would that stand versus everything else that we saw?
Here's what
it was a bad match and we weren't excited for it.
Right, but here's the thing. I think this match would have been better, not great, but better, if it would have been 15 minutes, even with the Chris. I think if they would have went out there, they would have light bombs with each other. It would have been a Lesnar type match, a Lesnar Goldberg type match where they're just bombing on each other, right? And it gets to the point where they're both like out of it. Christian comes in, you do the Christian, and you do everything else, but it's like 10 minutes. I think people would have been okay with it. I think saying it's like the worst pay-per-view match or the worst pay-per-view main event ever, you need to go back and you need to watch some of those WCW pay-per-views.
We just said Hogan and Piper. Like, come on.
You need to go back, I mean, I got news for you. Orton and Triple H
and Hunter.
Triple H exist at WrestleMania. WrestleMania.
Don't forget about the Miz and John Cena. What was that? WrestleMania in Atlanta. That was awful.
I don't ever think about that match.
There's a reason. See,
the Seth Rollins Fiend match got the crowd to chant, "We want refunds."
There you go. That's another one.
Those people weren't chanting that. Maybe they left. Maybe they were tired.
By the end of this show, everyone was chanting "Whose house?"
Yes, and I was going to say that's the one other part. I think the whole ending sequence with Swerve, I think, also helped with this. I think if you just ignore that and you just go, "Oh, it's just the match," I think if you ignore that whole thing and what Brandon said, it looks like Cope, for right now at least, because they didn't pin him, is out of the world title picture. I could see him making maybe one more run, which is fine. But we're going to get the next chapter of the Christian and Edge stuff. So I'm fine with all of that because I think the Christian and Edge stuff is actually good. The problem is when you have to like do little sidetrack things and they get, that's when it's not good.
Involved, like, no.
Yeah. Like that part of it, but we'll see. We'll see where we go. I don't think this ruined the pay-per-view. I think it just ended it with like a eh. But then I think you did the Swerve thing, and I think that helped a little bit.
I think that this is the worst main event in AEW history.
Well, that's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Was that I thought World's End was worse.
I thought that the MJF,
Hold on, wait a minute.
MJF and Jay White was worse than this. I don't care what nobody say. That match was worse than this.
I don't know.
That match,
Maybe.
I hated that match. Bro.
It wasn't worse as a match.
It
was worse for different reasons. If you thought it was worse,
I don't know. You might be right. That's my guy, but I don't know. That's a good question. Impossible answer.
Deflated? No. People were in good spirits after the Swerve stuff happened, and he cut a little promo in the ring. I don't even think I think I put it in the Discord where people were kind of like spent after the rest of the pay per view, and that's kind of why they were, not into this match. But honestly, I don't think that was the case. Like, I feel like if you would have given this crowd something good to get into, I felt like they would have, popped for it well. So I can't even say that. Again, I think people were just kind of indifferent on this particular match here. It's, they had a little bit of juice when Christian Cage came out, which was cool, and they did the stuff with Yuta, they did stuff with Jay White. I mean,
what are we even talking about? The worst AEW main event. I had to, because I was like, did it main event? MJF and Adam Cole.
Come on, Wembley.
Wibbly.
All right. Okay. All right. Josh.
That match is bullshit.
Hold up. I feel where you're coming from, but the crowd wasn't dead though, Josh. Like these people.
I don't give a shit. That match.
No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it either. But like, I can't say they didn't go out. No, for real, I can't say they didn't go out there and do like a sports entertainment match well. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? Like, that was a WWE main event. That was a well done Roman Reigns main event. Like, I can't go that far, man. I can't do it. Because the crowd. Look. Did I like that match at all? Absolutely not. But I can't put it in there, bro. I can't put it in there just because the crowd was into it, and although it wasn't for me, it did work to an extent. Like, I can't do that, John.
You enjoyed watching this match, this Cope and Mox match. You enjoyed watching it more than the All In main event.
I don't know.
It didn't make him as mad. Is probably what he's trying to say. Like, he wasn't as much in a bad mood.
And no. This match isn't going to tank the company.
I wasn't in a bad mood after that Adam Cole MJ. I was just
I will say, this match pissed me off a whole lot. First off, why are they working this style? Why are they doing this?
That's what I said. If they do a 15-minute match, they don't have to work this style. They can work a better style if it's a shorter match. Because Christian's going to come in anyways. Everyone knew Christian was probably going to cash in, so you didn't need to do this slow prodding bullshit that they did.
And then also, nobody's a bigger Jay White fan, maybe online, except maybe his mama. They have ruined my guy. Like the whole gimmick is that he is hyper intelligent. If you followed him in New Japan, he would do things that like most wrestlers didn't think about. For example, the cliche, when a wrestler's on the mat and we count to 10 or whatever, and then, there's the 10 count and then everybody stands up at the last second, he'll see what the match means and then realizes it's not that important and just stay down and let himself get counted out. Like those stupid tag matches like New Japan would do, like in between like the G1 nights, he would just lose because they didn't mean anything. That's the character, that he's smart. They've made this dude like a doofus that can't do anything right. You swing on Willa Yuta and then you fucking miss him completely and then do the WWE shock face. Oh, what? What are we doing, man? With this guy? That works for some. Not this guy. That's not the character. That's not the character, man. Not this dude.
You're blowing out your microphone, sir. Sir, you're blowing out your microphone.
Like the whole thing is him being cerebral. That's almost like taking someone like Bret Hart and then like he doesn't do any submissions now. Like let's completely fly into the face of the character. Doesn't make any sense, bro. That pissed me off completely. And then the Christian thing. And then let's bring Christian out to do this WWE ass fucking. I don't care. I know we knew it still sucked. It still fucking sucked, man.
But isn't it great that it's over with now?
Yeah, it's over.
Yes, Brandon. I'm glad it's over. I'm talking about the match itself. This shit was terrible, man. I was like, this is something that would be at the fucking Royal Rumble.
Man, this is
you have
go
Justin
to
Roberts. You know what I mean? He might as well have been like Christian Cage just cashing in his money in the bank. Might as well have just said it. Might as well have just said it, man. And then they had to do Christian has to sign the contract. Like, that doesn't make it any better. It's him handing him a fucking clipboard. It's the same thing, man. I fucking hated this match, man. This pissed me off. This pissed me off.
See, I was just bored. It didn't piss me off.
I wasn't pissed off. I was just like, oh damn.
I was just bored.
But again, what did we expect going into it? Like, yes, you wanted the main event of an AEW pay-per-view to be great. I would have let all this shit go if like John said, if it was shorter and we got to all this stuff earlier. If it was shorter, cool, I would have let it all go. But you wrestle regular fucking match that Brandon and the crowd are sitting on their hands for like fucking 20 minutes, and then you do these shenanigans and you fucking destroy Jay White, and then you do the fucking WWE Money in the Bank thing. This was designed to piss me off. You know what I mean? It's everything that I complain about this company, and then they take my favorite wrestler and make him like a dummy. Oh, bro, it was like
what if they had had you to come in, right? And he's doing the you're wondering what he exactly is going to do, and then Jay White comes in because Yuta's in there and he thinks Yuta's going to do beat up on, and they do the double turn in the middle of the ring.
That's fun. That's good. That's good. What you were saying is good. They didn't do that though.
I know. I'm just saying.
Your boy's a terrible babyface.
Horrible baby. Horrible.
But Chase, yes, you guys might be right on this, but like he is being set up to look bad, separate from his own work as a wrestler. Like what they did in this match, independent of how he executes the babyface role, that was dumb. That makes him look like an idiot. Yeah, like having him knock Edge the way they did. This whole Death Rider storyline, he interferes and gets his ass kicked every single time. Like he may be a bad babyface, but I feel like that's like almost excusing the company for setting him up to look like an idiot 50% of the time.
What if that is why he becomes a heel though?
If they execute it that way, it seems
if where he's like, I tried to do it the right way, and I
look like an idiot,
and I look like an idiot, so fuck that, I'm doing it my way, type of thing.
It can work, but like, is he? Also, like, if Copeland and Christian are like doing their thing, are we going to get a Jay White Cope match? Because they seem to kind of tease that.
You can do that because you can have Christian be like away for a while, or you can still do that. Like, I think this fits into it. So.
Oh, they're going to do the stupid, like, I didn't watch footage of the match. You hit me with this thing, even though you clearly weren't aiming for me. That stupid pro wrestling thing that I hate, I cannot stand it. Like Edge can't, Adam Copeland, Cope can't just go back and fucking watch.
No, I don't think.
Know what I mean?
I think you'll get the, hey, I appreciate you coming out. Like, I think it'll be Jay.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Dude, I would much rather my guy Jay White not have to be in a feud with Adam Copeland. But if we must do that, cool. I
think they would feed off of each other better. You just can't have long fucking matches. They need to be short matches.
I do think I understand this match sucked. I understand the World's End match sucked. The Mox Cassidy match was really good. I thought I really enjoyed it. I think it's a little much to think that every Moxley main event is going to be this bad. I think Mox and Swerve is going to be over.
But that'll be. But the fans will be into that and all of that.
Hey, look. I cannot now with Jon Moxley. I cannot discount the possibility though, and that's what annoys me. I cannot just pretend like, oh yeah, it's a lot because it's Swerve. I can't do that, kid. I cannot do that.
I mean, because of this one match.
No, just all of this in general. Like,
I remember, RT,
man.
You were the one last week who, and like I agreed with you that the feud had gotten better in the last few weeks. Like, let's not forget that we were saying that on the show a week ago.
True.
So they're not incapable of having good TV. I understand this match sucked. I understand the World's End build was horrible. Like, they're not incapable of having a good, which is why we can get into it now. Like, I don't know if you guys still think that Swerve's going to win this title, but like in general. I just think this notion this notion that as long as Mox and the Death Raiders are on top, it's going to suffocate the whole company. I just don't agree. Like, the pay-per-view buys for this were great. The attendance was great. The TV the last few weeks has been really good. The show was great. The main event.
You guys go ahead. I have no opinion. Y'all go ahead.
No, what I'm gonna, all I'm saying is that this is not working. And it is the only thing in the company not working, and that's why you need to. Because if the idea is we're going to wait until, for example, Darby comes back, whenever Darby comes back,
it might not,
right? You're right. Then no, I'm not waiting till All In for Darby to come back. Sorry, we can figure out another way to get the title on Darby. I think you have, and Swerve is the guy, and I think we griped for a year and a half that this company just was cold, and you finally got a chance to get the company hot again, and I don't think you can do that with Mox on top. I think you got to get, even if you have another heel on top, I think that's fine.
But like the problem is on TV, at least, like, it's not just the Darby thing. They're building up Hangman. The whole MJF feud. Hangman is the protagonist of AEW.
Right.
The main character. Right. Will Osprey, after his match, cuts a promo.
But you can do Will Osprey at Forbidden Door.
But then to also be fair, they've done this before though, where everyone who I am.
No, Brandon is. He was trying to speak and I can't hear.
Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was on mute. What did Osprey say? I missed that. What did he say?
He cut a promo saying he's ready to be
the guy,
the ace of AEW.
So you're saying because he said that, because Hangman won his big match against MJF, that it's not time for Swerve to get it back?
What I'm saying is, I'll respond to that point in a second. I do think generally, big picture, the company is kind of set up with a heel champion right now. They have multiple babyface challengers that they can go to in the coming months that can take their turns dethroning Mox. Secondly, I do think this Moxley storyline, from all the reports that we all seem to agree on, that Moxley, this is his story. He told TK that he wanted the title, he wanted this plan, he wanted all the time to say his story, or he was going to threaten to leave. If there was a rumored person that they were going to have win this title from Mox, I think that person is not Swerve. And if they're going to audible, if Josh is right that we can't do this anymore, we have to end this story. The audible is do Mox and Hangman now. Do Mox and Osprey now. That's
no.
Just throw it on. Not just change the plan.
No. You do. Here's what you do. You have Swerve win. All right. Then you get to Swerve and Hangman at All In. Swerve still wins at All In. You still have Hangman not being able to beat Swerve. That still should be a story. And then you have Swerve lose the title at Forbidden Door to Osprey. And that makes up for when Osprey lost to him the first time. And now they're one-on-one in title matches.
This is why I wish we had more time between Dynasty and this pay-per-view of Dynasty. Because if we had more time, like the olden days, maybe we might have been able to do Heyman beats Mox on TV somehow. And then at the paper, you know what I'm saying? Maybe. I wish, this is why I hate monthly pay-per-view, man. I hate shit. I really don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
I'm not saying Swerve can't win. Swerve is a top face in AEW. But to me, I don't think this was the plan. I think
I don't think it's the plan either.
Swerve to Danielson to Mox back to Swerve, to me, is kind of like we were just spinning.
I mean, it's obviously not the plan. It's obviously not the plan, kid. I don't think anyone.
But I think there are other plans, like having Max. We didn't say this during Max's match. When's the last time Max lost clean on pay-per-view? Wardlow? 3 years ago? Like, truly losing clean. Because even the Joe match, he was beat to shit going into the match. He was attacked all week.
Was that a clean loss to Osprey at All In?
Garcia.
Yeah.
Garcia.
Oh, that's right.
Forgot about that.
Yes. And so, both Osprey and Hangman, they're setting up as guys that can be the guy that saves AEW. Swerve has been feuding and losing to Ricochet for a month. He got the win back. Great. But now, after losing on Dynamite and rematching with the pay-per-view, he's not going to be champion in 3 weeks. It just doesn't. It doesn't flow. It just doesn't.
Maybe that wasn't maybe they thought, hey, we'll be able to. And now it's like, okay, we can't have this anymore because you can still do whatever. I believe you can still do whatever story Mox wants to do without him having the title.
No, they keep over and over again. The title's the power. The title's why we give a shit. The title's
but whatever the story is, right? Because here there are, in my opinion, there are 3 people that you kind of like, Darby being the most likely, but you don't have to have Moxley being the champ, because he just can show up and be like, hey, you cost me my shot at the world title. Now I'm going to be a pain in the ass for you.
I think the better way to word it, Josh, because you was like, I don't know about Mox's story, but I think Darby's conclusion doesn't need the belt. That's what you're saying. Like you said, Darby's conclusion doesn't need the belt. Gotcha.
Right. And then he can have the belt somewhere else down the line, because right now you bring Darby back, like Darby comes back from climbing the mountain. He comes back. Yeah, he's going to be over, but you're going to have like 4 guys that's going to feel like are ahead of him until he's around for a longer period of time. So even if the plan is that, okay, Mox loses it all in to Darby, I don't think that works as well, because Darby hasn't been around and it feels like he's just been thrown into it, where you've got other guys that have been around for longer.
If Darby comes back, come on, Sean.
Hey, I'm with Sean. We'll see if Darby comes back.
It just seems like on AEW TV, at least, they're preparing for Hangman or Osprey. They've done more work to prepare Hangman or Osprey to be the next champion than they have Swerve. This feels like something to get us through Dynasty. He won the title there last year. I'm sure he'll talk about that on TV a bunch. That'll be an easy hook to get everyone to think he's going to win. And then Double or Nothing will come, and it'll be one of those 2 guys. Maybe Kingston comes back. And I don't know. It feels like this is just something to get us along.
But I think that's a mistake.
With me, kid. Do not play with me. I heard what you said. You threw that in there real flippant. Don't play with me, kid. Don't do that. Don't do that, kid.
And he's already teasing that he's going to retire. That's the FTR trick, right when you're about to come back.
Man. Yeah, but that was him just being goofy too.
But also, I genuinely ask you guys, because I know you all, maybe not Markeem, but the rest of you seem to really want this Swerve Hangman thing last year, and I didn't care that much. I was happy with Swerve Danielson. I feel like Swerve Danielson definitely had a better match than Swerve Hangman we're going to give us. Is there the same juice that you guys have for this feud, even a year later? They're both faces.
But they don't have to be faces. Why do you think they both have to be faces?
They don't. I'm not saying they have to. I'm asking as things stand.
No. Right now they're both faces. That's what kids saying.
But they can both.
But we know the story of those 2 guys. We know how they feel about each other. I don't really care if it's face dynamic. We know how they feel about each other. It doesn't matter in regards to that.
What I enjoy those heinous things they do to each other, like invading a home. And
why can't you do that? Well, why can't you do that now?
No, because here's for me at least, there's a subtle difference. It's like that's the heel doing that thing that ends up being the Walter White thing where you're cheering for the bad guy because that was actually kind of cool. But it doesn't work the same if a babyface is just setting someone's house on fire. It's like it's a heel that does that.
But they hate each other.
They're both not like traditional baby faces either. They're both kind of like they're baby faces just because the fans kind of like them, and that's why they're baby faces. They're not baby faces because
I think you're right about Hangman. Swerve's kind of a face. Like Swerve's a face. Hangman, maybe you're right.
So I think you can still do that.
But also like, God damn it, I had it and it's gone. It's fuck. Y'all go ahead. Fuck.
I'm just saying.
Had a good point. Now it's gone.
I feel like you are on the verge of something right now in the company, and keeping Mox at the very top doesn't help that. That is my thing. So
yeah, I'm glad you said that, John. That brings up a point. I remember last year when y'all were talking about Will Osprey should be the champ, Will Osprey should blah 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 blah, right? Now I'm kind of with you, Josh, because now it feels like a tangible momentum that this company is on now, with all the people that showed up to that show, with the venues, even though they're smaller, feeling full and feeling vibrant. The show in a better spot than it was when all of you were like, Will Osprey, right? They need to strike. Now I feel like they need to strike while the iron is hot to make sure that they keep this momentum going. I'm with you on that, John.
Well, and he cut the promo. Don't you think it makes sense that Mox beats Swerve and then they do Mox Osprey at Double or Nothing? And you can
it does. It does.
You could even change the title there, have Osprey main event All In, have Osprey main event Forbidden Door in the UK. You could still do all those things.
You just don't think now is the time for Swerve to win the belt. That's what you're saying, kid.
I don't think they've set it up well on television over the last few months. No.
But I don't think it matters because
I think it does. I think
I
it
don't
does.
think it matters.
It does a little bit, Josh. Just a little bit.
But it doesn't in the broad. I think people are going to be like, "Hey," I think people are so over this Mox thing that they're going to be like, "Yes, give us this guy."
Yeah, no, but where I disagree with you guys though is like, yes, that night, that week, maybe the next week, like sure. But I don't think like the relief that it's over will last you months and months and months. And Swerve is great,
but I don't think Swerve is the long term. Swerve is until you get to, like I said, until you get to Forbidden Door. Then you do Osprey, because we know we're getting this title for title match at All In. It looks like with Omega and Okada. Okay. So I just think that even if you're just you have to change things, to me, Osprey should still win the title at Forbidden Door because I think that's the best place for him to win it.
Sure.
But I think that I don't want to say traditional champion, but pretty much he's just a transitional champion until you get to, which is fine.
I get it, but like we hate the story that much. Like it's so prohibitive to us enjoying AEW. We have to like.
It's not a
transitional champion.
But I think
Kid is saying that a lot of people are overreacting. That's what
but you're still if Mox is the champion, you still have to feature him far more than what is needed.
I agree
on these shows.
That's a problem.
Like that's a problem, and so him losing the title, because I think everyone's going to come on and go, "Oh, look, everything is great because he's taking on Swerve." That's the difference, because he's taking on Swerve.
Yeah, I will say Josh is right, because the fact we're even having this conversation means that maybe they should do it. You know what I mean? Because think about the Cope match. Like they had to rehab and all this other shit on TV, and all, you know what I mean? We had to get to this point, you know, with the Cope match. With the Swerve match, it instantly feels like a conversation. So maybe they should do it. You know what I mean? So I might be with Josh now.
But I think that combo we're having with Swerve, if Swerve loses at Dynasty, we're gonna do the same thing with the Double or Nothing challenger. Like whether it's Hangman or
Osprey, but people are gonna be like, "Who's gonna like?"
But you don't want to lose the goodwill that this company is starting to get. I think that's Josh's point.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Because if you wait another month, kid, a month could mean so much. A month could mean so much, man.
Especially after this show, yeah.
I do agree that like if like this Cope match, if this happens like for 3 more, like the next pay-per-view and the pay-per-view after, yes, obviously that's bad. I think it'll just go back to being like what the Cassidy match was, like with Swerve. I think it'll be that kind of build and match. And I don't think it'll feel like it's choking the product that much. Because there are times where the story is good, there are times where it's bad. I don't buy that it's going to stay consistently bad and kill the momentum of the company.
I don't think it'll be bad, but I don't think it can be just fine. That's not fair, but I don't think it can be just fine. That's my thing. I think it has to be.
So now we want to hold this company to standards that they
now
we want to do it, Josh. Now we want to do it, really? That's funny.
How have any of us come on here in the last 9 months?
Doesn't matter. Y'all should have been doing it when I was doing it. That's what I'm saying.
What did we say? Did we say that everything was hunky dory and great and yay AEW?
But y'all weren't being nearly as hard as you should have been. That's what I'm saying. I was. Now we want to be hard on this company. You all are funny as fuck, man.
Whatever.
You motherfuckers. Y'all are hilarious, man.
You know what else is funny as fuck? Cody Rhodes' last 2 promos.
Oh, hold on. We're not done with this convo. Shut up,
damn it.
We're almost done.
But yeah, we're almost done. But Josh, I agree with you. I'm being facetious, but I agree with you. Ultimately, I think it might be time, just because you want the goodwill to keep going. That's my stance. So I might be
especially because you want, like, I still feel like for All In, you need something. You need a main event that feels like it's hot.
I think it'll be like this show, though. I think that'll
be what's something bigger. You need something bigger than this, though.
It's probably going to be a constellation of things, though. It's going to be Omega and Okada is going to be treated like a big deal. Mercedes and Tony is going to be a big deal. The Bucks versus Edge and Christian, like shit like this. I'm just giving examples. It's going to be a constellation of like 4 to 5 matches that matter. Like
You're gonna have your card versus your one main, like your one marquee match.
I'm just saying, I think
this magical like Swerve Hangman, what, another cage match, like a not exploding barbed wire. Like, I'm sorry,
you don't have to do any of that. Why do you have to do any of those gimmick matches?
Why you throwing shots in my match? Why you throwing that?
You don't have to do any gimmick matches. Like, this is going to be for the world title. Like, that in itself is way more important than doing a cage match, a Texas death match.
I just don't think the juice is the same, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I will happy to be proven wrong. I don't think the blood feud they had versus the straight world title face versus face. It's not the same as Danielson. It doesn't have the same stakes.
Come on, Sean.
That's right,
Sean. That's right, Sean. Exploding barbed wire for the world championship. Come on, Sean. I'm with you. That's all I want. I don't give a damn about all this shit we arguing about. If they do that, I don't care. I don't care. Give me Funk Onita.
You'll get your momentum when Osprey or Hangman are champion in a few months. Like,
we need it now.
Fine.
Yeah. Adam's in the chat telling us what the fans want. What about what I want? Let's just do that. What about that? What about me? What about me? God damn it! I don't ask for this company to do anything.
All right. Let's talk about this monumental heel turn that happened.
We do not care. We do not care. I'm Mike Tomlin voice. We do not care.
With
Stephen A. Smith,
John Cena. Like, I don't watch WWE, but I've been paying attention. I feel like they've completely dropped the ball on this. Completely.
Well, they can get it back next week.
I mean, they can, but Cena's got to cut the
He's got to cut the promo. He's got to cut the promo because Cody ain't fucking doing it.
Like, but the thing is like, even if you knew, like, if you're like, okay, well, we can't have him, fine. Then every single person that is cutting promos needs to bring up John Cena. Needs to bring up, all the faces need to be like, I can't believe John Cena did what he did. I can't believe, all of that. They all need to, so that, and he needs to answer for it. And I can't wait to hear what his reasoning is, to build it up so that when it happens, it feels like a big deal. It just feels like now, okay, I was waiting for John to go out there and cut whatever promo he's going to cut. And then he's got to cut like the promo. So it's, I just feel
why
like.
Why didn't they just have him do it at the show if they knew he wasn't going to be here?
Because they don't think like that.
He dropped the mic. He picked it up and dropped it. That's all he did.
Yeah. And then he went on to the press conference thing and just made faces and walked off.
Yeah, like even if he didn't do it in the ring, if he would have did it at the press conference, it would have been everywhere. It would have been like all over social media. They would have aired it on.
Right.
I hate it. I hate this company. But y'all go ahead.
It's arrogance partly. I think they genuinely thought you'll wait the 2 weeks. Like you're curious to see what Cena's going to say on Raw, how he looks, the presentation, the music. I'm kind of interested to see what the music is personally. Like I think they arrogantly thought we won't lose anything by making them wait 2 weeks. We'll have the title change on one show. We'll have the steel cage match with Roman coming back on the next show. Everything will be fine. And I think they underestimated how much their own momentum kind of deflated.
Because even like WWE are like, this is not okay. Like, so
I think Cena should come out to his song called Bad Man. Look it up if you never heard it before. That's what he should come out to.
Well, he said he recorded a new theme.
Oh, really? Okay.
13 years ago for the original heel turn that was supposed to happen.
He said it's in a closet somewhere in case he ever wants to bring it back out.
Cool. I'm with that.
We're going to see The Rock next week? I don't think so, right?
No, he's not going to Brussels.
Yeah.
Taylor's stupid. You didn't see this coming. Oh man, that's definitely something they do. Brandon's quiet as hell. Brandon just has nothing to add.
I mean, it was cool, and then they didn't do anything. They haven't done anything with it, and they just expect you to like go on with it. And like we'll see how it goes. Like I love the more of the fact that Rock showed up, fucked everything up. But to be fair, like somebody in that company looked at what the build for WrestleMania was and said, we have to do something and called The Rock and asked him, "Hey, do you want to come in and do something?" And
Save us, Dwayne.
Nick Khan.
You think Nick Khan made the call? You think he made the call?
and then he came in and he blew everything up, which it maybe everything kind of needed to be blown up. And then you had the Dave Meltzer tweet that he took down. I think we talked about that last week.
We did.
Yeah.
I read it. I read that tweet.
Where it was, absolutely craziness. But I think that, because the one thing about watching, like, people will defend the booking for these pay-per-views and the build to these pay-per-views by saying, oh yeah, they're boring, but the NXT shows were boring. The NXT show, the pay-per-views weren't boring. Maybe the build-ups were boring. Maybe the booking overall was very basic and standard, but the shows themselves were not boring.
No.
Now
then the NXT shit isn't accurate because that didn't start until they went on TV. Like, the show was still good. Like, I don't know where the contortions come from to defend this goddamn show. Like, boring is never a good thing. Why do people? Why is that a thing?
There's a difference between people confuse predictability with boring. They're not the same thing. You can be predictable and it still not be boring. Like, you can see where things are going and it not be, so.
Nick Khan is a New Jack fan? I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, the rest of the show is dead also. Like, there's just no juice behind anything.
Right. Like,
they're doing fucking Jay Uso versus A-Town Down Under to get him ready for Gunther. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, it's not even like, you look at that cage match, it's so clear that what the fans want is Roman versus Punk with Heyman being, that's what people want, but they're not doing that. So
gotta include Seth because everyone has to be on the show. I would tell him, like, listen, geek.
You know what? This is what I would tell Seth. I would say, go pick somebody you want to have a match with, and we'll put you whoever. That's what you do. Because, whatever.
Even a Roman Seth singles would have been better than.
Anyways,
so y'all two want to talk about that show y'all watching?
Oh, Daredevil.
Real quick. I like the first two episodes. I love the beginning of the first one. I loved it. That was so bullseye. So just everything about that character, everything about even I love how they direct those fights, man. Up close, he cannot fuck with Daredevil. He whoops his ass every single time they're up close. But he fucking creates space and he just starts throwing shit at him. That's how it is in the comics, man. It's like I love that they love these characters the way that I love these characters. Only thing that bothered me so far is I have to get used to the new Disney presentation because, good God, the CG threw me off. And also, it seems like they're sidelining the cast of the Netflix show, to build up these new characters, and they're all fine so far. I got no issues. It's too early, but that's going to take some getting used to. What I like in this too is that for decades, since Miller all the way through, let's say Mark Waid is probably the best example. Daredevil was like this dark and like really like, I mean, he was dark then too, but like he was this really dark and like hopeless character, and like everything was like watching a crime drama with a blind superhero. Like, that's all his comics read. Then Mark Waid takes over, and it's a little more hopeful, a little more superhero-y, and the tone of the show and the look of it feels like when Andy Diggle was done with Shadowland. Yeah, I'm being nerdy. And then Mark Waid took over. Like, now this is this new era of Daredevil where he's a superhero again. I just got to get used to that because I've never seen something like that quite play out on television, keeping the same continuity. I've never seen that before, so we shall see. But I do like it so far. Love the beginning of the first episode.
What do you think about them using White Tiger the way they are? I think
that is weird. All right, so I don't know where this is going, so I don't want to talk too much, but I feel like it's a weird choice to include him. You know what I mean? Like, in this, like, where does he fit in with?
You know who I think would have been a better choice, and I get why they probably didn't use it, is Prowler. Prowler
Well,
would have.
they probably can. They probably can.
But I'm just saying that would have been a better. That'd have been a better choice.
Like you got to remember, he's still a Sony character. They probably can't use him. They might have thought about, because Prowler. This is like essentially this is Prowler, right? Like
Right.
he's in jail for something that he did accidentally. You know what I mean? He's still a good guy. All this stuff. So they just kind of substituted. Oh my god.
Well, the thing about what is they introduce him and then they're like, oh yeah, I can't do any of that stuff without my ambulance. They don't even explain like what his powers are or anything.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably find out later because apparently he's a big part of this show, so he might get like his own little origin thing. The new episode is out right now, but so far, I mean, I do like it's just too early to tell. You know what I mean? Wait, didn't it? He did? Really? Seriously? Oh, I didn't know that. John said the actor that played him.
Yeah,
died.
I see that. I'm like,
I didn't know that. Holy shit! This is his last performance? I'm guessing this guy. I don't know, but. Yeah, I mean, it's just early. That's all I got. It's early.
Yeah.
Can't say. Good so far.
Good stuff. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Well, you'll have a little bit more time to gestate on it in about
2 weeks. Excuse me? 2 weeks.